This conference will now be recorded.
I'm Matt Rockney, Chair of the Planning Commission. It looks like we've got 6 out of the 7 members present. Todd Hamill can't make it tonight. First thing, I'll call the meeting to order. Second, we need to look at the agenda. Ryan, our Community Development Director, is here. Is there any amendments to the agenda?
Not as, well, the staff recommendation on new business B in the memo, I guess not to the agenda,
Okay,
B into the memo.
all right, fine. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as printed?
I move we approve the agenda, Steger.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor by roll call, Bev Holzai,
Aye.
Bev Venus,
Aye.
Joan Bucher, mute.
You're muted, Joan.
We'll let Joan, we'll get back to Joan. How about, let's see, Hamill's out, Jennifer Prinz,
Aye.
Tom Steger,
Aye.
Matt Rockney, aye. Joan, are you able to unmute? Well, motion carries. We'll maybe call that an abstention. So carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1. Right, next, approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from January 12th, 2021?
They seem to be in order.
Might that be a motion?
Sure. I move we approve the minutes as sent out.
All right, Steger motion. Oh, I think Joan Bucher unmuted. Can you hear me, Joan? Still no sound on our end. Okay, so we got a motion from Steger. Is there a second to approve the minutes?
Second, Prince.
It was either Prinz or who?
Prinz.
Okay. Further discussion. All in favor, Holzai,
Aye.
Venus,
Aye.
Booker, can we hear you? Maybe Joan could try to activate her video and do the old thumbs up like happened before. We'll skip Booker for now. Hamill's out. Prinz,
Aye.
Eager,
Aye.
Rockney, aye. Carries 5-0-1. Number 4, no public hearings. Number 5, old business. I'll take that. I said last time that I would work with Ryan on reviewing the fence ordinance to see if there was anything we could tighten up. I did not get much of a chance to look at it, so I'm going to kick the can down the road and revisit it next month. I apologize for that. So we'll move on to 6A, new business, rezone of the 168 Boulevard property. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yes. The current property owner, Larry Tomford, is requesting to rezone this parcel from a C2 highway commercial to an industrial zone. The interested party, he'd like to develop, he's asking because he has an interested party wanting to purchase it, and it would be used then and developed for an industrial use. The interested party would like to build a recycling center in that area. There is currently no direct access. There is, well, right now there is, and traffic will take, okay, off of Highway 52, there is no direct traffic, and any industrial traffic will have to take County 168 Boulevard and take it either down to Highway 60 to get on the interchange there, or take it north to the Hayter interchange. So it would not go in through Zumbrota, and in the future, we don't know when, the State Department of Transportation is planning on an overpass that would connect that portion of the city's industrial area to the east side of Zumbrota and along Jefferson Drive and North Star Drive there. So that is something that will have to be worked on in the future, but as of right now, the request is for a rezone from highway commercial to industrial. And if so approved, the city staff then recommend setting a public hearing for March 9th at 5:35 p.m. to receive public input.
I know when this is Matt, when we're talking rezoning, it's always a question of, is it consistent with the overall comprehensive plan that we have? And is this kind of a spot zone, or should we be looking at does this potential change of zoning fit with the overall plan for that entire area out there? Just some things to think about. I don't think it should prevent us from setting the public hearing, but I don't know, Ryan, do you have any input on what the use of maybe the surrounding properties could be or supposed to be, or is it pretty flexible over there?
The future land use in the comprehensive plan has the surrounding properties being industrial. And I could bring that up and share it on the screen if you'd like, just for everybody's awareness.
Sure.
So this area, if you can see my cursor, is all industrial out here. This lot where my cursor is now, that is the lot in question. Sorry. So where you can see my cursor on the screen, this is the parcel in question, and the future land use in the comprehensive plan for 2016 has the surrounding areas being industrial and this parcel also being industrial.
So right now, this land is in city limits, but the rest in the light pink is not city limits yet. Is that right?
Correct. This lot is currently in city limits. There is one additional parcel where my cursor is now that has been brought into the city back in 2018, I believe, owned by Eric Lohman, approximately 25 acres. But the one we're concerned with right now is where my cursor is, this approximately 9 to 10 acres.
They might be on a different project.
Anybody have other questions or concerns, or is there anybody of a mind to make a motion to set a public hearing on the request for the rezone?
This is Bev Weenus, and I'm thinking about this parcel, and I know in our ordinances, it says that it must not be detrimental to other properties in the same zone. And if it is, no variance may be issued. If it's not compatible for development of our city, we wonder if it's compatible for the development of our city. And a variance says that it must be in harmony with the general area. So if this is going to be a junkyard or a recycle place out there, I'm wondering if that's the place that we should allow it to be. Or that if it would alter the essential character of the localities out there.
Well,
Is he the same person that wanted to put a junkyard in by the motel?
Mhm.
Same guy.
I believe this is the same business owner, and when he first approached the Planning and Zoning Commission last year, he proposed about bringing it in that location by the motel. This location,
Yes.
it is, the areas around it and the uses around it are industrial.
So it is conforming with your guide plan that you've got set up at this point?
And is it compatible for the development of our city to allow that to go in right over there?
Yeah, the visual aspect along the highway.
Right. And if there's going to be an interchange, or if they're going to put, a bridge across there, does the city want a junkyard in that area if it's the best use of that?
Can I
highway
ask you
property?
guys a question since I'm kind of new here? We're helping Larry out here.
Pardon?
So when you refer, can you hear me?
Yeah, who is this?
Are you
This is Scott Carlston. I'm the applicant. Larry Tomford's my father-in-law.
Okay.
Larry lives in
Okay.
Zumbrilla. He's lived down there for the last, 15, 20 years. And he's asked me to help him through it. He's home with COVID right now. And to make a long story short, I've been talking with the buyer. The perception I've got is not going to be a junkyard, but it's going to be, he wants to build a large enclosed building because he's dealing more with the precious metals and the catalytic converter removals and not so much. So I'm curious where the word junkyard came from, you guys. If there's something that I'm missing here?
Well, in
Is
our
that what you're
ordinances,
talking to the city
it
about?
says recycle or junkyard verbiage in our ordinances. It's in there.
Oh, in the ordinance, okay. I was gonna say, when I talked to Jamie, because he made it real clear that it's a recycling with indoor, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Sure.
I think when we talked about it before, we were requesting a site plan, concept plan, so we could better idea on what the plan was for visual and noise impact and minimizing that. And I think the same thing goes here. If this gets rezoned to industrial and the transfer of ownership takes place, when it's time for either a building permit or at least zoning approval to put that business in there, I think we'd still have some input on those issues to make sure that there's a minimal impact on the surrounding properties and
Sure.
visually and noise. So I think we still would have some control over that.
The site plan you're referring to and the elevations for sure. And right now, what Larry is just trying to do is just get it rezoned to the guide plan that shows the the light industrial or the industrial warehouse. Right now, it's just ag, I believe, is it not?
Its current use is ag, but it is currently zoned highway commercial.
Okay,
Maybe.
interesting.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
So, yeah, so again, all we're looking to do is get it rezoned, and then when the applicant will need to bring in the site plan and the buildings and elevations and those things for you guys, I'm assuming.
So the rezone proposed is consistent with what is here in the future land use map.
Yep, that's what it looks like according to the map and our comprehensive plan. That's correct. So, and we can have further, if we go ahead and schedule the public hearing, we have further discussion at that time.
That would seem appropriate to have a public hearing then, I guess.
That sounds like a motion, Tom.
Sure, I'll make it a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second, Bev.
Bullseye?
Bullseye.
Yep. Any further discussion? So motion and a second to schedule public hearing for March 9th, 5:35 PM. If no other discussion, all in favor, Bullseye,
Aye.
Venus,
Aye.
Luker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Steger,
Aye.
Rockne, aye, carries 600.
Thank you very much for your time, and I'll share that with Larry Tomford.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, on to 6B, regarding the 460th Street request. Ryan, do you have anything?
Yes, the current landowner, Brenda Lumen, she would like to sell sections of these lots to a business wanting to build commercial storage units. Currently, these lots are zoned C2 highway commercial, which has a limit of no more than 30% of a building can be used for storage. Ms. Lumen is requesting guidance as to the most appropriate action. If the commission recommends a rezone to industrial, then to set a public hearing for March 9th at 5:40. If to recommend to a PUDC, then staff would recommend that the developer submit a concept plan in accordance with the outline laid out in the city's ordinances. So that was the change I had for my memo. A rezone to industrial would allow uses that would permit storage for all structures. So 100% of the structure could be used for storage. A PUDC would retain the underlying zone, which would be a C2 highway commercial zone, but would enable a developer's agreement that to permit conditions that would allow increased storage and other conditions that the Planning and Zoning Commission may have. However, a PUDC requires platting of the land and therefore construction of city streets along developed lots. So once it becomes platted, speaking with other city staff, once it becomes platted, the city staff is of the position that it would have to be developed, especially with city streets, city water and city sewer. The city staff would be okay with like an agreement not bringing that up right away, but at least for streets, that would be a requirement. So for the Planning and Zoning Commission, we're asking which way you would be more open to.
So PUD is a planned unit development, and then the C stands for commercial. So there's a section in our zoning ordinance dealing with planned unit developments for commercial property, and it offers a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more control for the city to deal with what goes in there and how things are constructed. So Yeah, I don't know if anybody on the commission has any thoughts, or if we decide to go one way or the other. It looks like the owner's just looking for direction. So let's just say hypothetically, we decided, yeah, let's try this PUD approach. I would assume staff would contact Brenda Lumen and say that's the direction that the commission is wanting to go. And then when she's advised of the plating requirement and that we'd maybe need to deal with streets, I guess we'd have to see how she responds, right?
Yes.
A couple questions. What's the land use map for that area? Is that commercial? What's the brown next to it? Or what do we have there?
I can bring it up on the screen.
Yeah.
It is currently zoned C2, and the future use is mixed use.
Okay, the solar farm is out there now. Are we talking right next to the solar farm? Is that where they want to put this?
Yes, approximately. I haven't seen an updated concept if it would go abutting it, but it is within these two lots where my cursor is, and the solar farm is on the western side of the western lot.
And she wants to locate these on those lots?
The most recent concept plan I saw was in the eastern 20-acre lot here, and I will bring up a parcel viewer.
Yeah.
Is that starting to abut on a proposed frontage road?
Yes, so it'd be on this lot here. The one that intersects with 460th Street and County 10 Boulevard. And the solar farm is currently on the lot to the west of that.
Right. And where would the frontage road be proposed?
It would run north-south, either between the two or through it. The city staff are open to the developer's proposals as to where they place the through street. But according to the transportation and land use map, there is a planned city street that would run through this area, eventually connecting, to connect the County 22 down to the Jacobson commercial lot area through here, and then eventually parallel 52 up to Highway 60.
Right.
I suppose there's always a question, do we have some discretion to redirect a better use? Is this the best location for a storage building, or do we want to encourage the landowner to put something else there? I mean, I know we just went with the solar panels to the west. It's always a consideration anyway, is can we think of other better uses for that piece of property? Maybe we don't have a lot of control over it, but we do have maybe some.
Matt, when they put the storage buildings on the other side of 52 there next to the fire hall, was that a consideration too about the best use for the land with the frontage to the highway and everything?
Yeah, Ryan and I were talking about that. I vaguely recall that the planning commission had struggled with that one, but finally the city decided to allow it. But it was definitely a struggle.
Because with a corridor like 52, you want to have something that's going to attract people. I don't know if storage sheds are the best.
Speaking with the property owner and the potential developer, they're in high demand right now, especially in Zumbrota, due to Zumbrota's wetness, essentially, because the area around Zumbrota is so wet. A lot of homes are built slab on grade, and that loss of a basement reduces a lot of potential storage in each home. So people are buying or renting out a lot of storage units. So there's a high demand for that.
But if we consider the high demand versus the best use of the land that close to the city, we have to think about that too.
And when you said mixed use, did that include housing potentially in that area? You know, if we rezone it to industrial, that kind of acts as the housing.
I know under our, at least under our planned unit development ordinance, that also allows for mixed use of combination of residential and commercial use. So, you know, if we wanted to go ahead and at least explore the PUD with this owner, you know, maybe getting a site plan and using some creativity so that we're not using up all the prime property next to the highway. Could be considerations anyway. It's kind of in its early stages right now. I think they're just looking for some direction.
I guess I agree with you, Matt, that you know, looking at industrial further to the north and keeping this more as a, you know, the commercial and mixed housing and mixed use kind of an area. So the PUD would make more sense then, I guess, if I understand it right.
So on that, I've got a question for Ryan on that parcel that you were pointing to is how much of that are they thinking they want to use? All of it?
I've heard from the landowner that it is it may be portions of each of the two parcels. So they'd have to subdivide the two. But I understand it's approximately 15 acres.
That's a 20-acre parcel right there.
Yes. Each one is 20 acres. Approximately.
Do you mean that they would cover 15 acres with storage units?
I believe not all at once, all at first, but at least have room to expand as needed.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
So what should we do?
That's why I'm asking you.
Well, I don't feel that that would be the best use of that land that close to County 10 and just off the highway to put in 15 acres of storage units. We were concerned about the solar panels going in out there, but this would really wrap it up if we had 15 acres of storage units out there too.
It seems like there's no real request for a zoning request right now. They're just looking for guidance. So maybe at the very least, we should ask for some sort of general concept plan and take a look at that. Just right now, we're just struggling with the idea of it all. What do you think, Brian?
I was given a pen on paper sketch,
Okay.
and it did outline 15 of the 20 acres on this parcel. However, I don't know if it's been changed in the meantime. Speaking with the landowner, she said there may be a little bit from the western 20 acres that may be split off into that as well. So that was not on that current concept.
That's what I told him.
We actually can. He says on the east, but they don't want you.
Because again, right now, it's C2, right? Highway
Yes,
commercial?
it is currently C2 right now.
Yeah. I guess I concur. I'm not sure that storage units are the best thing for that, but if nothing else, I'd hate to see it switch to industrial.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brent, is that you?
Yeah, this is Brenda. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
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 Oh, okay. Okay, I wasn't sure because it looked like it was still muted. Yeah, so we did change the plan and the site plan a little bit. And so if you can imagine that the solar is on the west, but there's some space in the back that's not being used on that first parcel. So it's the new plan is kind of an L shape, and it kind of overlaps that parcel line that divides there. So then on the east side, there's about 15 acres left that's just going to continue to be farmed. And that's I didn't realize that that you would want this map yet, but I can send that in. I have a diagram of that kind of cut out so that the Buchers could purchase 15 acres, and it would use up what's left of the east parcel, and then it would take a few acres off of that. Or yeah, a few acres off the east, but most of it would be on the west. Yeah, sorry.
So
Yeah,
currently,
I-
the solar takes about 8 acres on the western side of this western parcel. So take the rest of the western parcel and then some of the eastern parcel.
Yeah, like a thin strip of the
Okay.
eastern parcel. So it's a nice straight line there. Mm-hmm. Also, yeah, just from talking to the potential buyer, it sounds like the plan is to build, like nice, big, long storage units, and just build one, and then, as it's getting filled up, then they build more. But in the back of the lot, they want to have more outdoor parking for like campers and boats, and potentially like a winter shed too for like storage for high-end items. So like a larger storage shed, like a cold shed. So kind of a multi-purpose storage unit. And that's why he's wanting a larger piece for just multiple kinds of storage.
I don't know. That's probably as good a location as any really for something like that. If there's a demand, I can't think of other places where we want to push something like that. Staff, have any thoughts, or have they discussed it?
Amongst staff, there is one concern about security in an area out here. The police were worried about if storage were located out here because it's not patrolled very often, or I don't think at all. The question about physical security, will there be fences? And if so, can the P&Z make that a requirement? But it's still pretty early in the concept and design.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is Brenda again. I have talked to Steve a little bit about his plans, and when they have the storage for like boats and campers, that would all be fenced in. And he made it sound like there'd be a lot of fencing around the property line. I suppose currently the units in town, they don't have fences around them because people have access to them all the time. But he installs security cameras on all of his storage facilities. So that's something he was going to do. For anything that's not fenced in would have security cameras. That's all I know.
Other concerns amongst city staff, if this were to be developed, of course, city streets would need to be put in in order to accommodate or to align with the Department of Transportation's their future transportation plan. And then there was talk amongst city staff as to extending city water and sewer out there as well. As of right now, city water and sewer are at Midwest Fabrication and Grover Auto. So we'd have to extend city water and sewer quite a ways out there. So we would have to talk with the developer if they want that right away, or if there's any way we could delay that. So it would be a huge price tag for the city.
From my knowledge, actually, the potential buyer is not needing any water or sewer for his storage facility, so it's definitely not a hurry on his part or mine. He just needs electricity, is what he's said, and that's why this parcel, this area, has been a prospect for him. He doesn't need all that right now, so no hurry.
Is this something that, let's say the commission decided, all right, let's explore this planned unit development option. Is it something then that maybe staff would have some meetings with the owner and developer and try to iron some of these out before coming back to the commission?
Yes, so with the process for the planned unit development, the process for that would be starting with a formal concept, and it lays out in our ordinances everything that requires. And then we take it to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Planning and Zoning Commission would give approval or not, or further input. Then we'd go into the platting process to plat and then lay out where future city streets and services and any easements there may be. Then we need included with that grading plans, stormwater drainage plans, everything that encompasses a plat or platting of new land. And in that time, then the city would provide, the city would then develop further any of these questions, any of these issues, to include parkland development or parkland dedication and the assortment of other factors that go into the platting process.
Yep, treat it like a normal development.
And then we would also have a developer's agreement in which we would list out not only engineering requirements, but anything that is currently not listed within city ordinances. So a developer's agreement would then be a way to address issues such as physical security or city water and sewer services and other things like that.
And we'd be consulting with the city engineer all the way through the process.
Yes, the city engineer would be involved quite closely.
So this property already is annexed into the city then?
Yes, it is already in the city.
So we wouldn't end up with something like Wolbig over here that you couldn't control.
Right. Anything with a 7-2 in front of it means that's City of Zumbrota.
Okay.
Well, I guess it's highway commercial now. If we want to explore this possibility of either, well, if we wanted to go with the possible request for a rezone to industrial, then we'd make the request of a formal request be filed, and then we'd have to schedule a public hearing, just like we're doing with the other property. Or if we want to explore the plan unit development, then like Ryan was saying, we'd staff would reach out and request more of a specific concept plan that would be brought back in front of the commission at that time, or at the next meeting, or whenever it's available.
If we could get a drawing as to just how this storage unit would lay between these two parcels, that would be helpful to us.
I guess I like the idea of seeing a whole concept plan. I guess, it's some precious acreage right there. And it's nice to have strike while iron is hot with opportunities, but you also want to think about how it all fits together.
All right. Is that enough direction for staff, or are we looking for a motion to go in one direction or the other, or maybe that's enough direction so that we can take a closer look at it at the next meeting?
So direction would be to request a formal, or not necessarily formal, but more in-depth concept plan and drawing, and then address it again at the next meeting.
Yes, I'd like that. Mm-hmm.
And if they want to actually file a request for a PUD commercial, that's fine, but that concept plan would have to be done regardless then. So.
Yes.
So I guess we'll leave it at that, since there isn't really a formal request yet on the table, right?
If the Planning and Zoning Commission was inclined for a rezone, then city staff is requesting, because the landowner mentioned that they'd like to move quickly with this, so that way they can turn around and then purchase ag land with the land that they sold. So they're under a time pressure or a turnaround if they were to sell it.
I hate being pressured on a decision like this, but I understand. I guess I do think a concept plan makes a lot of sense. Whether at the next meeting, if we take that as an official request to proceed with a plan unit development, then we'd have to, at some point, begin the process for developing a preliminary plat and start negotiating the developers agreement. So it's going to take time. Am I getting the sense that we want to go, if we look at this, we want to go the route of a plan unit development rather than a rezone to industrial?
That's my thinking.
Yeah, I would support that, and that's what I was kind of hearing from the group too, I think.
Right. Well, I guess we could make that a motion that we'd like to see a better concept plan for review at the next meeting, and then I guess we can discuss from there if there's more concerns or if we're in a position to go ahead and start the process for developing a preliminary plat at the next meeting. Would that make sense for somebody to make a motion to at least request a detailed or a more detailed concept plan for the next meeting?
Yes, Winnes, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that, Prinz.
All right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, bullseye.
Aye.
Weena.
Aye.
Hooker.
Sam,
Abstain.
you've got feedback.
Okay. Prinz.
Aye.
Hooker.
Aye.
Rockne, aye. Motion carries 5-0-1. Thank you, Brenda.
You're welcome.
Next item, 6C, interim use permit. Ryan, go ahead.
Property owner Steve Cheney is requesting an interim use permit to allow the remaining area of his building at 2101 180th Avenue to be used for commercial storage. City staff recommends setting a public hearing for March 9th at 5:45 p.m. to receive public input.
So it looks like his plan is to, at least for the time being, not have a separate entrance. He wants to use the same common entrance as the, what is it? It's not a Dollar General, or what is
It's
it?
a Family Dollar and Dollar Tree.
Family Dollar, Dollar Tree. Is that right?
It would be for foot traffic and retail, they would use the same foyer as the Family Dollar, Dollar Tree. But if you would at that time secure somebody to lease out and put in the commercial storage, you'd then install another loading dock.
How much space does he have left out there to rent out?
I believe it's approximately, I had it in my previous meetings, approximately 6,000 square feet.
Okay.
We've talked about this for a couple of months. I think we should go ahead with a public hearing. I make that motion.
I'll
I'll
second
second
that.
that, Winnes.
Either one pick. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor for the public hearing, bullseye.
Aye.
Winnes.
Aye.
Hooper.
Aye.
Prinz.
Aye.
Steger.
Aye.
Buckney, aye. Motion carries 6-0-0. That's it for new business. Kevin, reports. I'm going to skip that one. All right, go ahead, Ryan.
So I've submitted my resignation to CETA, who is currently in the process of searching for another associate to fill the rest of the contract with the city of Zumbrota. I've been offered a full-time position with the Army Reserves, and I've decided to take them up on that position. So my last time with the city will be sometime in mid to late March. The personnel committee is currently reviewing applicants, and we hope to have a smooth transition so that way no services are lost in this transition time, and that the city, and then I'll be able to do a left seat, right seat with the incoming contract or incoming associate.
How long have you been here?
2 years?
2 years. You did a good job and you'll be missed.
For sure. What kind of work are you going to be doing with the reserves?
Administration and staff work. I'll be working as a battalion plans officer, managing taskers to various other functional staff, logistics, personnel.
Huh. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
We might see you at the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay. All right, anything further from the commission?
Linus, I'm wondering about, when we were talking about stormwater just a bit ago, does the city keep track of what's going to happen over here on the Wobig property when we get a big rain?
Yes.
Do they look at the grading and the covering of the ground and that kind of stuff, or who takes care of that? Because it's all wet dirt right now and it's not very stable.
Yes, the by ordinance and state law, all stormwater has to, and stormwater runoff has to stay on the property in which it falls or originates. One thing to keep in mind is that there is wetland up there, so it's going to remain wet going into the future, but runoff has to remain on the property.
Okay, but you know, on the west side of his building, you know how tall that building is and how much roof surface there is there. What's going to happen when we get another 10, 11-inch rain and all that water comes off of that roof and down into Brownell Camp's yard? There's nothing there to stop it. Does Wobig have to take care of that water won't run into all those yards again like it did before?
Good question.
Yeah, I think he's responsible for that. So if there's issues, he's going to have to implement some sort of controls.
Okay, and how can you enforce that? And what's going to happen in the spring when we do get big rains and it's still all chunky dirt? They were up there digging, well, let's see, what's today? Probably on Thursday, with a big excavator digging on the west side of that building again. Have you been up there to see what's going on?
Not in the past week.
Okay. Well, it would be good to drive over here and see what you think, because I think when we do get a big rain, it's going to be a disaster.
City staff, we do have a meeting with Mr. Wobig and his engineer this next week, and that is something that we'll be bringing up.
Okay, that's wonderful.
I don't know where the nearest storm sewer is, but if it becomes a problem, they might have to put in some sort of redirect water to a catch basin and direct it out to the sewer.
Yeah, because right now it just comes on. Well, they're almost on the. They're not on the property line for Brownell Camps, but they're very close. And when all that water comes down, there's no place for it to go, except pool and go into those yards or come down the street. So it would be good to go and take a look at that and then address that when you meet with Mr. Wobig next time, just to see what his plan is there. But I know we need, it's mandatory that there's ground cover out there, and that won't be in place by spring when all this melting and rain starts.
Yes,
so you do need to address that.
Yes. I'll make sure to bring that up in the meeting with them, because it's with our engineer, and also bring it up with Mike Olson as well, our public works director. So that way the entirety of the staff is made aware, and we'll be working with the property owner to address it.
That sounds good. Very good. Okay.
All right, anything else? Otherwise, I'll adjourn the meeting. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.